Hey, what's going on, Cashflow Hackers? It's Chris. I've got this guy, Jeremy Miner, here. He's an amazing sales trainer.
Maybe.
No, he's fantastic.
Possibly.
We just did a great interview. If you're a life insurance agent, if you're looking to be able to connect with the people that you're talking to, trying to serve in a much more impactful way, we just had a great talk, and I think you're gonna wanna watch this. And at the end of it, we got some offers to be able to connect with him, get some free information, just really build it out. And so I just wanna thank you for being on here.
Hey man, it's a pleasure, man. Thank you guys.
Yeah,
you guys are fun.
It's amazing. So go check it out, watch this video, subscribe at the end, and follow this guy. Hey, what's going on, Cashflow Hackers? It's Chris with Life 180, and today I got a cool special guest, Jeremy Miner. He's like, I don't know, like...
I'm not that cool, but thanks for the compliment.
Yeah.
My kids say I'm pretty boring, so thank you.
Well, here we go.
Thanks for having me on your show.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. So I got to give everybody a little bit of a backstory. So I found Jeremy on TikTok, of all places, right?
Yeah, okay.
And it's not often that I start like following people and consuming their content or watching.
Yeah.
But what I will tell you, and I haven't told you this yet, every time I open TikTok,
Yeah.
it's a Jeremy Miner video.
Oh, the Reels, right?
The Reels,
okay, the Reels.
right?
You should indoctrinate you with Reels.
Right, so I open TikTok, and if you know anything about TikTok and their algorithm, the videos and the creator that you watch the most, there's always that person is the first one that comes up, right?
So I'm always the guy.
So every time I open TikTok, I look at this guy's face.
You know, we do 180 Reels a month.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
But that's like prolific content.
So
That's what you need to be.
time.
Yeah, totally.
Besides your wife and kids, I'm the next in line.
Yeah, you feel like family already.
Right,
So the funny part was I had it on my mind and heart that I wanted to interview this guy because what I do is coaching life insurance agents is a big part of, of my business. And so Jeremy, if you don't know who he is, you need to know who he is. He does sales training, and what I'll say is, what I've found is you do it in a really, really unique, authentic way that is still extremely effective. I think a lot of times people feel like they have to either sell, and if they're authentic, they're a little too passive, and you kind of have this really...
Yeah, it's like you have to be neutral, right? So you're not passive, you're not aggressive, you're right in the middle. So we call it neutral languaging, right? So certain words you're using, certain questions you're asking either trigger the prospect to react in one of two ways, right? Especially like anytime like in a sales conversation you're in, whether you're on the phone, whether you're on Zoom or in person, your prospects are picking up on social cues from you. They're picking up like your verbal and nonverbal cues based on your tonality, what you're saying and or asking that triggers their brain to react in one of two ways. It's kind of crazy, even when you talk with people here, that's what they're doing. They're like sizing you up in the first 10 seconds.
Totally.
Just so everybody knows, right? Just like you're sizing everybody up.
Oh yeah, totally.
So what it does, basically, there's a certain part of our brain called the reptilian brain, where that side, if we come across on our sales calls, like if your insurance, right? So if you're calling like aged leads or like leads that are a couple days old or whatever, they're like, everybody's calling them, right? So if you come across aggressive, if you come across needy, if you come across attached, right? And you don't understand the right questions to ask and like the tonality to really slow down and ask that. If you come across too fast talking and excited, it triggers their brain to go into what's called fight or flight mode. Where they try to get rid of you very quickly, like, oh, I'm not interested. Oh, we already had somebody call us about that. Like, oh, we don't need that. Or, oh, we're good. Or we already have somebody for that. Can you call me back in a week, a month, a year later? How many of you hear that every day?
Totally.
Right?
Totally.
That's because you're triggering that reaction from how you're saying and what you're saying to that prospect in the first 10 seconds, all right? Everybody's heard of fight or flight, but nobody understands how it's actually a triggered reaction, right? It's the salesperson, not the prospect. So once we learn how to work with human behavior and we come across in our calls more neutral, more unbiased, like we're not quite sure we can even help yet. Now that's not passive, it's in a way where it's structured where we're coming across as more of an expert. We don't know enough about their situation to know what we can even do. We come across, I would say, more collective, okay, and especially detached. That's the key word, detached. And we understand the right questions to ask. We understand the right tone. It triggers their brain to become curious enough where they actually want to engage. They want to open up because they feel like, they don't know what it is yet, but they feel like you might have something that could be important to them. Right? So that's what we talk about when we're working with human behavior is like you're either triggering fight or flight mode or you're triggering curiosity.
Yeah.
You have to trigger them to disarm and let their guard down enough to become open to what you're talking about.
That's awesome. That's brilliant. I hope everybody took that. So
Bunch of behavioral science.
yeah.
Boring stuff.
No, it's not boring though. And if you want to be good at sales, you got to know this stuff. So
Yeah, probably. It's probably a good idea.
Yeah, not a horrible idea, right?
Know how to not trigger fight or flight mode when you're calling leads.
Yeah, totally. Well, so here's the deal, just to give you a little context on us, because he knows, by the way, nothing about our business, pretty much. He knows we have life insurance.
I just met him 10 minutes ago.
Like, literally. Legitimately. We have a good friend in common. And so we do infinite banking, okay? So we don't do a lot of leads in our agency.
It's more like people you know?
People we know, you know, I get leads from the YouTube thing that come through, but referrals.
Yeah.
And if they're doing their own leads through their own like social media content and stuff like that, that's fine.
So it's more of an outbound lead or like a referral.
Yeah.
But it's still the same things going on.
For sure.
Right now, a little bit easier to get through, right? Because they maybe know who you are, or they have something booked in with you, or like it's an outbound lead compared to calling like a 3-month-old lead that 75 other agents called.
For sure.
But just as all of you know, anytime you talk with somebody, you're doing the same thing. Subconsciously, as a human being, we cannot help subconsciously but to like analyze somebody's tonality and body language, and we pick up on those things very quickly.
Yeah.
Just like everybody does here at this event. Just
totally.
watch when you talk to people, like how they look at you
No.
in the beginning. That's
Totally.
What we're doing.
Totally.
That's our brains.
I love it. So let me ask you this. One of the things that we run into, that our agents run into all the time, selling infinite banking, is if we're so amazing, I would have heard about it before, right? And it's too good to be true, and a lot of people have this emotional thing. If it's too good to be true, it must be true. You're selling me something. It's a scam. It's a this. It's
Can I
that.
help
Whatever.
everybody with that one?
Yeah.
If you ever hear if it's too good to be true, here's all you've got to ask. Well, when you say it's too good to be true, where do you think that phrase came from? Like, do you feel like it came from somebody that was extremely wealthy, or somebody that was extremely poor? And they'll be like, somebody who's poor. So it's like, can I make a suggestion to you? Have you ever considered that way of thinking, that if it sounds too good to be true because we don't understand it, that way of thinking has possibly financially kept you exactly where you're at in your life right now? And they'll be like, oh yeah.
Oh, wow.
How are you going to overcome that way of thinking so you can learn this so that you can make, and then you repeat back what they want? That's like the easiest objection the world ever come.
That's awesome.
It's the how-to objection.
Yeah.
Not like telling them, because that goes in one ear out the other. But by asking that simple question, it allows them to tell themselves like, oh yeah, poor people would say that. And I don't want to be like the poor people.
Yeah. That's amazing.
There you go.
So you do a lot of work with life insurance agents.
Yeah, we train 158 industries.
Okay.
Insurance is probably in the top 5 that we train.
Really?
Out of 158 industries, it's in the top 5 for sure.
So in all that,
Yeah.
what would you say are the top, like, I don't know, 1, 2, or 3 things that are keeping life insurance agents from being successful?
I would say one of the biggest things, you guys, from what I've seen, for most companies you train, you have like a script, you ask a couple of questions that are usually very generic, vague questions that are like, I would call surface level questions.
Sure.
And when your prospects stay surface level with you, when you go to try to close them at the end of that conversation, you're typically going to get, I want to think it over objections, I need to do more research, I need to keep looking around, I don't know how this works, can you call me back in a week, a month, a year later, right? Those are probably the objections you guys get most of the time. That's because your prospects are staying surface with you because you don't understand yet, because it's an acquired skill, you can learn this. You don't understand what questions triggers curiosity enough for them to feel comfortable in going below the surface and really opening up to you.
Yeah.
Okay, because I hate to tell everybody this, but your prospects don't sit around on Saturday and Sunday afternoon when they're not at work and count up all their monthly expenses, and then if they die in 2 weeks, they're going to need like $2.6 million to pay for everything. Like, nobody does that. Nobody sits around thinking about it. So they might have like a work insurance policy that pays 3 times their annual salary. So let's say they have a $150,000 policy.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I'm good. But then they don't understand that, like, let's say they die tomorrow and their house is $300,000 that they still owe, and they've got all this credit card debt and cars. If he dies and he's the main breadwinner, the wife is pretty much stuck. She's going to have to get a second job within 6 months.
Yeah.
They don't sit down and analyze that. Now, you can't go in and tell them all that because you're biased. You're the salesperson. It goes in one ear out the other. You're questioning has to allow them to see what their current situation is. We call that their current state. So your question allows them to start to understand that this is what they have. That's just all factual, logical stuff.
Yeah.
But then as we get into our questioning ability, and we open them up by clarifying and probing off what they're saying, we start to build a gap.
Yep.
Okay, that's called the gap, all right? Here's their current situation. We call that their current state. Here's where they want to be eventually. This is what it's called their objective state. Now, what's the gap? The gap can only be determined by your level of questioning that allows them to basically see like what their real problems are. Because most people, like I said, don't really even know they have a problem. They're like, oh yeah, I need life insurance, but they don't understand what their problems are. They don't understand how bad the problem really is, meaning that they don't have enough insurance to even cover, let's say, a third of something if they die in the next 10 years. And they don't really understand. They don't understand the consequences of what will happen if they don't do anything about solving that problem. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
So, anyways, I'm going off on a tangent. Yeah, record this.
No, it's oh yeah, go for it. Go
He's
for
probably
it.
been looking at it.
That's amazing.
Does that help a little bit there?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's amazing because I think one of the biggest things, right, is like if you can't connect with people and build a relationship. We're at Funnel Hacking Live right now. I don't know if you saw it yesterday, but they were talking. Russell, I think, was talking yesterday, and Brennan this morning. Did you see Brennan this morning?
I didn't. No.
Oh man, he was amazing. So, all about building the relationship with people, right? And so, what are some tips that you have to be able to? Because like sometimes, like if you're going in and they know you're a salesperson, right? And they, like, how do you build that trust and build the relationship so they're willing?
You don't build trust by saying, "How are you doing today?" or "How's the weather where you live?" Like every salesperson that's ever tried to sell your prospect you're talking to now that you ask the same question has heard that line 100 times. And they all know that you're genuinely not interested in how their damn day's going.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
So when somebody says to you, you're like, okay, come on, whatever. So typically, when you're coming in, let's say that you had an inbound lead. I'm just going to throw something out there. You see somebody books on your calendar. They see something you have on YouTube.
I get that all the time.
On your calendar.
Sure.
You're going to ask a couple different connecting questions at the beginning. Okay, so John, hey, thanks for being on the Zoom call, the call with me. Looks like you had booked on the calendar about, looking at different, quotes for different possible financial protection for you and family when something does happen to you, right? Yeah, that's why I'm here. Yeah, good, okay, good. All right, and then you're kind of looking at your notes here. All right, so and we want to set a frame there.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so the first part of this call, it's pretty basic. You downplay it. It's pretty basic. It's really more for us to kind of see kind of what you have in place now as far as policies, maybe different assets to, pay when something does happen compared to, maybe what you might be looking for. Yeah. Just so we can kind of see what that gap, that gap looks like, to see if we can actually help. And then, towards the end of the call, if you feel like it, that it might be what you're looking for, we can talk about possible next steps. Would that help? Oh yeah, that'd be help. Now notice how I'm downplaying everything. Not at the end of the call, if you're ready to sign up, we'll get you, that's just too assumptive. But if towards the end of the call, if you feel like it, that it might be what you're looking for, we can, talk about possible next steps. Would that help you? Oh, that'd be great. You watch everybody that way. So you're just disarming them. Right? So when you disarm a prospect, they become open and they start to view you more as like an expert with what you're doing, more of a trusted authority, like you're credible. Like asking them how their day's going, like, oh, you love football too. Nobody cares about that. And they know you're not interested in what that means.
And that's not why
they're there. That doesn't build a relationship. You're skilled questioning and how, not like a robot. I'm not talking like scripted robot, like a telemarketer, but making it natural, like, a George Clooney film, an actor and actress, when they're on there on TV or whatever, everything they say is scripted. But it doesn't sound scripted to you, does it? Right? Because they memorize it. It sounds like who they are. As a sales professional, that's what you do. You memorize your questioning and you know how to bridge from question. Okay, but walk me through, like, what type of insurance policies do you have now for, like, when something does happen to you? See, I'm bridging by using what's called a verbal cue. Okay, but help me understand. And so that sounds natural. But if I'm like, I ask a question, they answer, like, okay, gotcha, awesome, that's so cool. Let me ask you, John. You sound like a robot. I can ask the same next question, but it's how I'm bridging into that next question that makes it natural and that feels natural on their end, and they open up. That's how you go below the surface.
So, okay, so A, I think it's why I wanted to interview. Like that totally aligns with like just your energy, right? Like is in alignment with kind of how I try to naturally go at every relationship, right? Every conversation. It's also counter to a lot of sales training that I've seen out there.
Pretty much the opposite.
It's the opposite. Like we'll edit this out if you don't want me to go here, but like the 10X stuff. And the Grant Cardone stuff, like that seems like super intense, and it's like coffees for closers, like go get them kind of deal.
Yeah, I mean,
and he's much more in your face.
I love the motivational stuff. I think Grant's like really the best at like motivational stuff. But the problem is like when you're training sales teams, like motivation wears off. Yeah. Because when the prospect picks up the phone and they say hello, and you don't know what the right questions to ask, you don't know exactly what to say that triggers them to want to engage. If you're triggering sales resistance and then you're having to fight with rebuttals, your salespeople are going to burn out very, very quickly. Because today's consumer, we call it the information age consumer. They're not the consumer of the 1980s, 1990s. With the power of the internet, social media, they know they have many choices to choose the exact product or service that you sell. So because of that newfound power, most of them are no longer going to be pressured and bullied into buying what you're offering because they know they don't have to.
That's so true.
You know, they've got lots of options. They can just go do a Google search. Like, all that stuff didn't exist when a lot of these gurus sold in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, right? So you're training sales skills that maybe got you by in the 80s or 90s, but today's buyers are a lot more skeptical, a lot more cautious than they've ever been before because they're being advertised and sold to on social media all the time. So instead of pushing prospects, I want to get the prospects to pull me in. So when we train salespeople, we're working with every type of personality, not just an A-type personality that can get away with hard selling and go through the numbers game, and the other 95% can't. I want to train every type of personality to succeed, and that's what we do.
I love that, man. So, all right, so first of all, everybody watching this, I mean, if this is resonating with you, I would suggest they go follow you.
They
where do they do that? Like, how do they get a hold of you?
Follow us on IG. Just go to Jeremy Lee Minor, just all one word, Jeremy Lee Minor. There's a lot of spam accounts, so
do you have are you check marked or anything? Or
we're not. We're still trying.
What's going on, man?
We got verified on Facebook in 2 days. We got verified on YouTube in 2 days. And after 6 months, we still cannot get verified on
I've heard Instagram's really hard to get verified right now.
Verified. Our book is being published here in the next couple of months. We think that'll probably get us, because it'll be in Barnes & Noble and stuff. So that's the last thing we need. All
right, there you go.
But you can follow me. We got like 170-some thousand followers on that account. But
amazing.
Jeremy Lee Minor, or just go to our free Facebook group, salesrevolution.pro. Just go to www.salesrevolution.pro.
I'll put all the links in the description below, so you link it up, go down and check it out.
They can just go in there for free. Somebody will DM them from our team with a free training called the NEPQ 101 mini course. It's just some questions that they can use for different sales situations. That alone will probably help them sell more. And if they want to learn more advanced training, because we train thousands in their industry that make 30 grand a month, 50 grand a month, 100 grand a month, like clockwork. It's like, you only make 40 grand a month? What are you not learning? Like, what's
wrong with you?
What's wrong with you? Like, these guys are making 100. So you want to learn those skills, just have them message us in the group and they can get on with one of our team members and go through the different training options.
That's amazing. So I got to tell everybody before I go here is like, and your Facebook group, right?
Yeah, salesrevolution.pro.
Oh, that goes to the Facebook group?
Yeah, we have like 31,000, 32,000 people.
Oh, it's amazing.
Salesrevolution.pro. Yeah.
So one of the reasons I first got really excited, I started following him, and then I had an agent that I have a lot of respect for reach out to me, and he was like, Chris, have you ever heard of this guy, Jeremy Minor? And I'm like, yeah, actually, I just started following him not long ago. And he's like, man, just his cheap stuff is changing my business. And so,
that's like basic stuff.
I mean, but like that's a credit to the value that you're adding out there. And so I would really encourage anybody who is looking to level up your sales game, go check it out, go down the rabbit hole, take the red pill, do all that fun stuff.
Or just stay weird.
Just stay.
Has no impact on me. If you want to learn those skills, we can help you.
Totally. That's awesome. Hey,
to have you on
it was great.
It's awesome. I love
all
the cameras and stuff.
So much fun.
I love it.
I love it. So, guys, if you have any questions, comment in the comment section below. I'm going to put all of Jeremy's contact information, all the social handles, all that stuff down in the description. So go follow him. And until next video, have a blessed, inspirational day. We'll talk soon. Hey, you got it, man. Awesome.